Welcome to TYT Sports.
That was.
I'm enjoying a bagel with my friend Francis Maxwell, Ben Mankiewicz. You know what? This is the wrong story to be eating a bagel.
Yeah.
Sorry. Didn't really put that together. I sort of thought we'd be talking about Derrick Rose. Seemed appropriate to enjoy it while we sort of talk about the fortunes of one of America's great athletes. But in fact, this story
Has made me lose my appetite.
It's disturbing. Well, I'm very hungry. And the bottom line is that North Korean workers should be able to have a bagel. So there are nearly 3,000 North Korean workers sent by the government to Qatar to get the country ready for the 2022 World Cup.
Yes.
So what North Korea does, it's done this before, it sends workers around the world in order to sort of bring foreign currency into their stagnant, dead economy.
Yeah.
But the conditions these workers face in Qatar is ridiculous. By the time, first of all, they get almost none of their salary, 10% at the most. Other, it's taken away by the government. They're told they'll get it when they come home. We don't know because we don't hear from anybody once they're home. Defectors and some people who know are reporting the conditions are just heinous. These guys have to borrow money to buy one cigarette while they're getting one of the richest countries in the world ready for an event which can show off this country to the world
And fill their pockets
like
more.
There's no point in railing against Pyongyang, right? I mean, North Korea is, they're beyond reason, right? They don't treat people as humans.
Yeah.
We don't dignify them, but we don't dignify them with I don't expect anything from them. I do expect something from Qatar. And for them to let this happen, and what they're clearly doing is saying, hey, look, this is North Korea's issue. We're just exploiting the workers, making them work huge overtime, not giving them any money. I don't see why that's our fault.
So that's been basically in a very intricate and fascinating piece of journalism. I love the way they started this article. It seemed like we had reached a point where the organisers of the 2022 World Cup couldn't possibly get more cartoonishly evil. It was a great comment. And then later, very bold, it was estimated that the worker-fueled construction would kill more than 9/11.
More than 3,000 workers would be killed.
That's what they're estimating. And then later on, they're saying another report estimating that 1,000 migrant workers have already died in the country since 2012. So we did a story on this before, and I think it was with Dave Collar, the perfect man to talk to this about, who's both of us basically ragging on Sepp Blatter and his willingness for this to go ahead, and the idea that people didn't really understand that people are dying in Qatar at the moment. The working conditions are awful. And there's a quote here that finally says, Qatar is a country without conscience. And I'm not trying to rub anyone the wrong way, but when it comes to your workers, you need to understand that this takes so much time and effort to build these stadiums to the capacity that they're said to be, that it's requirements for the World Cup.
Pay the workers, put them in nice places. This is not complicated.
Yes, but
you're one of the richest countries in the world. Tap a well and pay them.
Exactly. And in Brazil, you've seen the exact same thing. They were kicking people out of their already poverty-stricken houses to build stadiums to meet these requirements. And then what the problem is that FIFA do not give the money back into this country once they make the enormous amount of profits. Yes, the major politicians in Qatar will definitely get a nice new Ferrari from this, but the people who are at fault, who are going to be building these houses, killing themselves, they'll not see any of this money, and that's what the frustrating thing is. And the funny thing is, we just read the news article today that Sepp Blatter met with Vladimir Putin to talk about the future of the 2018 Russian World Cup. I would have loved to have been a fly in the wall to listen to that conversation. They probably talked about, I don't know, maybe slaughtering some puppies and, standing on some people's heads that are already drowning. The necessary evil of those two guys is...
Yeah, I don't even think Putin gets into this group, because here is a group where you take, let's move to 2022. You take FIFA, Qatar, and North Korea, and you think those guys are going to come up with a plan to pay people a living wage? What are we talking about? Literally, you can't come up with three organizations or governments who are going to fuck regular working people harder than those three. Exactly. Here's what the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs in Qatar says. Quote, we take all issues around worker payment extremely seriously. There are currently 2,800 North Korean guest workers their guests. Oh, that's great. That's so nice. Registered in Qatar, and we have no recorded complaints about their payment or treatment. Qatar is determined to continually improve labor conditions for all who work in the country. We'll continue to work with NGOs, businesses, and other governments to achieve this. We have no recorded complaints about their payment or treatment. They're North Koreans.
Yeah,
they're not allowed to complain.
Exactly.
You jackals. Like, you don't have it. Yes, you do. Here's the Guardian article. There's the Deadspin article. You have the complaints. You have the complaints. If they go to you and complain, they'll kill their families, you dipshits.
So Kim Joo-il, a former army officer who escaped North Korea, is there on record saying he's escaped, so therefore he can speak his mind, so to speak. And he escapes and he says that it estimates that the Pyongyang government typically takes 70% of the total salary of workers abroad, and that, after all, fees nationally for food and accommodation have been paid, workers will be left with only 10% of their salary. It's an absolute
he's
disgrace.
An officer. I bet
Yes.
most people working over there aren't officers.
Exactly.
I don't know, man. It is the triumvirate, it is the axis of evil. FIFA, North Korea, Qatar. Looking out for you, the working man.